to the Nazi salute shortly after expressing his belief that the party born from the ashes of the Nazi party, where they're currently adapting Nazi slogans to avoid criminality, could all be a complete coincidence. I mention all of that because it's context, isn't it? Support for the far-right party born from the ashes of the Nazi movement. Support for a party that seems keen to revivify some Nazi slogans. Support for this party, a belief that this party should be governing Germany. Coincidentally, these opinions expressed by somebody who has subsequently given 2 Nazi salutes at the Donald Trump inauguration. As James points out, Elon Musk is a Nazi or he's stupid. And given that we keep being told he's a genius, he must be a Nazi. I don't know how far his ideology goes or whether or not he was caught up in that moment and just loved the idea of doing something absolutely outrageous. How on earth else could you upstage Donald Trump after he'd announced his intention to dismantle the rule of law and various other things and release various violent criminals back into the population while insisting that he'd been elected in order to remove violent criminals from the population? It doesn't matter what point you pick, does it? It's absolutely incredible. And it's only at work, I should stress, that I can find myself getting fascinated by it rather than downcast. Because when I'm at work and I have the pleasure of talking to you, the actual academic fascination with what's going on. So to campaign on a platform that promises to remove violent criminals from society makes sense. To then, in your inauguration speech and with one of the first acts as president, to release hundreds of violent criminals from jail, to release them back into the population because they were prepared to deploy their violence in defense of your lie about the election. It's just one indication. It doesn't matter what thread you pull. It always reveals a quite extraordinary abandonment of objective truth. Why do you like Donald Trump? Because he's going to remove violent criminals from the population. What did he do after getting elected? He released loads of violent criminals. So how can those both be true? Well, it's again, not dissimilar to that last call we took from Sam. It's going to be the foreign violent criminals or the dark-skinned violent criminals that he's going to be removing from the population. And the ones that he's going to be releasing are going to be ones that look like him or look like many of his supporters. Not all of his supporters, remember. This is intoxicating snake oil that he sells. And that's just off the top of my head, just looking at the speech yesterday, thinking of one thing where he has done the precise opposite of what he said he was going to do and got cheered for it. So you could, and I understand why, you might want to conduct a conversation about whether or not what Elon Musk did yesterday, was it really, wasn't it? I've seen people suggesting it's a Roman salute, which is a little bit odd because I think, and I didn't do this period of history at school, I very helpfully studied the Byzantine Empire, and I could tell you something about the Emperor Charlemagne, but I'm not great on Mussolini. Well, I'm not bad on Mussolini. I'm being a bit self-deprecating, but I'm pretty sure the Nazi salute was born of the fascist salute in Italy, which itself, I think, came from what some right-wing commentators are trying to describe as the Roman salute. So it was inspired by the fascist salute that came from the Italian National Fascist Party. Didn't get adopted by the Nazis, I don't think, until about 1926. And the conversation that, or some people are telling me that he's giving his heart to the crowd, because we all do that, don't we? When we're trying to express our love for a crowd, we all accidentally do something that looks just like a Nazi salute. And if you watch his face, I'm always a little wary of what's the word I'm looking for? A little wary of forensic analysis, because I'm not a body language expert or a psychologist. But there seems to be a little flash across his face where he acknowledges exactly what it is that he's about to do, because it's setting off fireworks. It's upsetting the wokies. It's claiming it's making America great again. I'll read this from Will in Christchurch, because I think he probably sent it before I gave you that little history lesson. He writes, "Sorry to burst your lefty bubble, Jimbo. It's a Roman salute, not a Nazi salute. Elon is clearly saluting a modern-day emperor in Donald Trump." Mate, you didn't get the memo. You're supposed to claim that he's giving his heart to the audience, not saluting a modern-day emperor in Donald Trump. I don't expect for a minute that you will read this out, as it doesn't fit your... Any guess on what the next word is? Your woke lefty agenda. So Will's ended up defending Nazi salutes. I bet he didn't think when he woke up yesterday morning that he was going to go to bed arguing that there's nothing wrong with Nazi salutes, or that it's not... When is a Nazi salute not a Nazi salute? When Elon Musk does it.
If you've been waiting to apply for disability benefits, don't. Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm a lawyer at Atticus.
25 minutes after 11 is the time. I don't know what the question is here, because having a phone in on whether or not it was a Nazi salute is of a very different flavour, isn't it, from the idea of accepting that it simply is. But I think this is how it happens. I watched it happen and I thought, good God, that can't be what I think it was. And then he did it again and I thought, oh my days, it was. And I think this is how it happens. I can't remember what it was that Michael Rosen said about fascism and carpet slippers. It doesn't come in jackboots. Always. It can come in carpet slippers. So you watch that moment and you know, before the broadcast, before the speech is even over, you know that people will be queuing up to claim that it's entirely innocuous. And you will acknowledge the existence of the people who claim that it's entirely innocuous, which immediately dilutes what he has done. I don't know that there is academic research into this area, but it is a moment of, it seems to me, profound significance. The idea that, I mean, I haven't looked at all of the coverage yet, but it will be some people think or outrage sparked. I've seen one German newspaper report it directly, explaining exactly what it is. I've seen a French newspaper doing exactly the same. I think even The Guardian has sort of couched its report in terms, so other British newspapers expressing a belief that people hold that is what happened. And if you don't accept what happened, you end up building castles in the sky. So I've got 4 or 5 different things coming, and some people blaming it on autism, some people claiming that it is a Roman salute, with obviously not having ever heard of Benito Mussolini. Where do you think they got it from? The question, why doesn't it happen all the time then if it's innocuous? The question, will you do it at work tomorrow? What would happen if you did it in Germany? It might be interesting to hear from people in Germany about what you feel when you see somebody doing something that would, regardless of what his online friends are saying, when you see someone doing something that would still be illegal in Germany. 0345 6060 973 is the number that you've got. So, Overton window, a lot of you are pointing out as well, you know, the old argument that if you're having a row with someone online, eventually someone will call the other person a Nazi. But Overton himself stated that all bets were off when Donald Trump was elected to president the first time. I don't know what the question is this hour, or not even hour. We're only going to have 15 minutes because I've got a fascinating Godwin's law, not Overton. The Overton window is when the conversation about politics moves further to the right and begins to feel normal. Godwin's law is the one about the internet that he himself